Match.
Hold on. Marcus, you don't take your foot outside and drill that ball on the
Concrete. Welcome to All Ball. Format unique, all access for all y'all. What the spiel like? Back full of elite athletes that wanna teach and it speaks to the streets, so it feel right. Marcus Liberty, a legend on and off the court to give you what you need. Robert Reed is your co-host. Go. Yeah. Like and subscribe and follow like a crossover. Never know when might fall through this bitch tomorrow. So All Ball Chicago. All Ball Chicago. All Ball Chicago. All I know is All Ball Chicago. All Ball Chicago. All Ball Chicago. All Ball Chicago. All I know is All Ball Chicago.
Welcome to another edition of All Ball Chicago. I'm your co-host, Robert Bobby Reed, and I got the legend, the NBA veteran, the McDonough All-American, your host, Marcus, living in a building. What's up, Marcus?
What's up, my beautiful people?
And we got a special guest joining us today, but I'm going to say that. I'm going to save it. I'm looking forward to that. What's up, big fella, man? What's going on, man?
Oh, man, just another wonderful day. Glad to be here. Got to thank the Almighty One that we are here for another day, man.
Absolutely. I can definitely vibe that, man. It's been a fun-filled weekend.
What you had on your plate this past weekend, man? What was you into, man?
Oh man, let me see. Working, man. I actually worked all weekend, bro. I did. Real estate had me so swamped this weekend.
Did it?
I was actually working.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I was actually working, man.
Hey,
I was in my car for 8 hours straight Saturday.
Wow.
I said, oh my goodness, man. But that's all good, man. I'm grateful to have a job,
Right.
And that is my job. Even though I'm an independent contractor, I have to generate my own income. So I love it that way. That way I don't have to wait on nobody to bring it to me, right?
No, you're hitting it right on the money, man. It's a lot of things that I think we can talk about today, and I know our guest will help us out with some of that too when she gets an opportunity to come on to join us. But it's a way of thinking now, man. People wanting to own their own things, and get things done. And I know when we get the guest on, we'll definitely talk about some of that. But yeah, you have to think it at a young age too. I think, man. You have to think about that at a young age to start working towards that. Because so many times we have been taught to go get that education and then go have a career. And I think we need to start, changing. Not saying don't go to school and get your education, but we need to start doing that thinking, way of thinking to be your own. So that's just something I think we need to do as a race, and try to get it going, man.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing that I often hear people talk about in our school system. They don't teach us that.
Right.
You didn't know what I didn't know what an entrepreneur was till I got out of school.
Right.
So it's important for people kids, if they can learn that early, man.
No doubt. Well, let's try to get our guests on, man. I think they're ready to come on. And
Let's do it.
And hopefully we can help some of our listeners out there, man. All right, here we go.
Hi.
There she is.
How are you guys today?
Good.
Thanks for having
Finally, we got a lady in the building.
You said finally. How are you guys on this wonderful Monday afternoon?
We good.
Hey, all ball was starting to feel like an all boys school.
All boys school. It's like a poorhouse now.
I went to Mendel. Okay.
Right.
But hey, so RJ White, I got to give you the intro. This is your first time on, so I got to give it to you.
Okay.
So today we got a special guest in the building right now. She got her own professional basketball team, the Vipers, out in Gurnee. She also owned a team in the UK. She's looking to become the first black female owner of the NBA G League team. And she also a graduate of Harvard Business School. How many people you know graduated from Harvard? Give it up. Well, R.J. Wright, white baby. All right. R.J. White, baby. What's up with it? What's up with it? What's going on?
Nothing much. Okay, so that was one of the best intros. Okay, I gotta put that in my notoriety. Thank you so much.
Just since then, man, I'm 100 and old, man. They all say that.
Yeah, they do.
Hilarious.
That's Rob. That's the hype man. I mean, he gonna get us.
Man.
He gonna get us right. I mean,
Everybody need a hype man.
Not just that though. Rob is a great guy, man, and me and him work good together. So we got this podcast called All Ball Chicago, and I'm glad to have you on the show. For one, me and Rob was just talking about entrepreneurship and how do we get people to think like that. So since we have you on, and you owning things, and you was owning things at a young age. How did that? We might as well just jump right on in. How did all that stuff happen?
Like you said, at a young age, like I usually always tell like the same, story when it comes to like how and why I felt like I could accomplish things. Because I've had more people ask me that, like, why do you feel like that you of all people can accomplish this huge goal? And besides the work that I put in and, the education and whatever that I have, is still one of those things like you got to have it at heart first. Like, I'm sure y'all know that y'all all ball Chicago, right? Everybody that I know that come from Chicago that hoop, like 95% of them got heart. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, like it has to come from the heart. And it was just something that I wanted to do at a young age. I had made it up in my mind at a young age. Like, okay, you own an NBA team. Now the question is, how you gonna own it? Like, what you gonna do? How you gonna get there? And that's just kind of where I am right now. Like, just going through that building process. So it all started at a young age, 6 years old, my dad, talking to my dad, my mom, who's my lifeline and support system. She's like my personal therapist. Like, they all kind of seen it in me at a young age. And even when I would say like, forget this, they like, no, if anybody is going to get it done, it's going to be you. Like, fuck up, get back out there, shut up, quit complaining. Like, you'll be fine. Like,
wow.
Typical black home. You be all right. Fall off. You be all right.
Wow, that's interesting though. I mean, 6 years old. I mean, I know at 6 years old, I don't think I was even thinking about dribbling a basketball. At 6, but it is some kids out there. It is some parents that have kids that are like that. That's dribbling the basketball at 2 years old, and that wasn't me. But that's awesome that you had that in you, and to have. You came from a 2-parent home, right?
Yeah. My dad and mom were together for quite some time.
Right.
Like our relationships over time, they did separate, but that made no bearing on, me and what I had to do with my life. It was like, okay, they just, at a young age, I swear, I don't know if I was just observant. I just was like, okay, it ain't work. Like most people be like, oh God, it's a divorce. My life is over. I'm like, they don't like each other. Like, all right, y'all gonna be happy. Like, so that's just kind of where I was at with that one.
Well, but my point was, you saw them probably go to work every single day, working, making sure everything is taken care of, and then here's this little girl at 6 years old looking like, what, I don't want to go do that. Maybe I want to own some stuff where I can have my own schedule. And
definitely.
But I know parents, their job is to make sure everything is right for us, as children, as kids. But you at 6 years old was thinking totally different. So now you have kids, right? And now how are you? Are they thinking like you, or are they just saying, you know what, I'm gonna go do what I need to do?
No, my kids are like literally like a splitting image of me. Like I try so many times to ask them, like, hey, like, how about a job? Like my kid is about to be 18, and she's like, no, like she's an entrepreneur. In fact, she is a pioneer. Like I have to give her that title, a pioneer in the cell phone industry, because she owns a cell phone case company, and she's punched close to, I want to say about 250K. And this is when she was like 16 going into 17. So my other daughter, she just got a contract with one of the highest home furniture goods stores in the US. as for her candles, and she just turned 16. So it's like they're all entrepreneurs. My son's doing shoe resales, and he's building out websites for that. So the only person I can't figure out yet is the little one, okay? Because she's in her terrible twos right now. But I feel like if it's anything, it's gonna be singing the way she's screaming around my house. So we'll see how it goes.
Wow, that is amazing. Really, that is amazing to have a family that's already thinking like that, an empire, and I think that is so important. We don't get that much, especially in an African American community. We don't get that a lot that we think like that, because most of the time we've been taught make sure you go get your education, make sure you do this and go start your career, your career. And you did both. All right. You got the education. You went on and went to Harvard.
I got most of my certs from Harvard. Like I just got accepted into Harvard to do my master's degree. So I'm actually waiting for that. But a lot of my certs, like I did negotiation mastery through Harvard. I'm doing entrepreneur essentials through Harvard. And I want to say I was like the only African American that was a part of the program at the time frame. And I'm laughing because it's like, you kind of assume that, because you're going to an elite school, but you don't really see the pressure like until it's on you. Cause it's like the whole room will turn and look at you like, okay, what's your thought process on this? So for me going to Harvard, it was actually pretty cool because the people that were there, they were like, okay, like, let's hear your ideology, or let's hear your, theory on this. And they were all like supportive. Even some of the people I had to argue with for my negotiation mastery or whatever, it was pretty cool because they actually still are in contact with me this day. They're like, oh, whatever you need, like you need investors, you need help with something, like just let me know. So I do feel like the college that you go to does build alliances. I got a lot of pushback, like from big people in the industry too. Like, why would you announce that you go to Harvard instead of going to an HBCU? And I just was like, I love HBCUs, you know what I'm saying? My family's history goes through HBCUs, but I just want something that is more solid when it comes to the networking processes. Because
No, I'm okay. I want to hop in once you get finished on that HBCU because I agree with you. Go ahead.
So I think I know where you're going because it's like, I love HBCUs, but like when I was inquiring about schools, it was like, what? Like, what do you do the regular process? You know what I'm saying? But like when I went through Harvard, it was like, oh, heck yeah, come on. Like, oh, you do this, you own that. Like, we'd love to have you in our network. So I feel like that was just one of the things because like I had got like a lot of pushback for that. And I just like, what is happening here? Like, why are they all mad at me? But I did figure out later on while, having a conversation with a few people where they were like, okay, that was why. So I'll let you go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I want to hop in because I agree with you 100%. I wish I would have went to Harvard. I ended up graduating from Chicago State. And Lord knows I went to Jackson State first. I've been to the HBCU and I love HBCUs. I love it.
Experience amazing.
But that degree though, compared to a Harvard degree, when you're going out here trying to get into this business world, man, it's real. Because a lot of these big time employers don't look at our degrees from these HBCU schools as valid.
Yeah.
Have you heard that?
Yeah, that's like, no, that's true. Cause like, for myself, cause I'm an employer, I have 242 employees, you know what I'm saying? It's like any degree for me is like, okay, if it's of the culture and it's like, okay, they have a degree. It's like, wow, kudos to you. Like I'm looking at your application first cause you got the degree, you don't see it often, but if a Yale or a Princeton or a Harvard does come across my desk, it does make you wonder like, okay, why are you applying for us? Like you have this elite background, this elite education. You could really do anything. You can really work anywhere. I appreciate that you picked us. And yeah, we probably will pick you too as an employee. So I do know that having that on your resume does actually create a different level of notoriety opposed to, like I said, unfortunately, your traditional, colleges. Not to discredit them, though, because I do feel like they were the ones that created the foundation for us, as a culture to be able to even have education. So I respect that. I just feel like the lines of superiority has to change because you have the people that are in the highest positions that are like, okay, you in, okay, you graduated, okay, bye. Like, it's like, nah, what happened to each one teach one? You know what I'm saying? Like what happened to mentoring, networking? Like you don't have a job, you graduate from college, which is what I was telling my children. Like, okay, you're going to college, but you're not going to obtain the debt that it takes to go to college. And I am your network. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, because when you get out there is no network. No, despite what people say, they're like, oh, you got a degree, you'll be fine. No, if you don't network right, which is what my book is about coming up, it's like, if you don't network right, you ain't getting nothing. You're not going anywhere. It's just a matter of how it is.
Yeah, and I also was reading up on you on some other stuff too, that I don't know if you still have that business or not, where you help people with their credit to make sure.
Yeah, I'm actually relaunching it as a franchise.
Okay.
So like, it's not active right now. I'm still on the licenses and I'm still legally, own it, but it hasn't been active and up and running. But yeah, we're thinking about igniting it under, my enterprise to basically do it as a franchise. But yeah, I loved it. I loved it, but I didn't like it. I know that sounds crazy. I really wanted to do more of what I wanted to do, which was, sports, owning my team, being a part of the team, being a part of, what it is that I had to go for in life. And it made, it's very lucrative, but I just can't be in a pin skirt all day. Like, it was just like, look, I want to put on some tennis shoes sometimes. I want to wear my hair blonde, maybe, purple, black, whatever. Like, I just can't. So it was more of a banker environment.
Right. Now let's go back to that though. You're owning the team, and when you play basketball, I'm assuming, right?
No, I ran track. I am 6'1.5". I am 6'4" with heels. And I ran track. But let me tell you, God rest Coach Greenstone, and Coach King, when I went to high school, they were trying to recruit me every day, but they were recruiting me from the principal's office. They were like, look, you got to stay out of trouble, darn it. You're not going to just keep getting in trouble. Like, you need to sit down somewhere with your little attitude. And between the age of 12, and me and you talked about this on the phone, right? Between the age of 12 and 17, 16, I just was not trying to hear anything. For those that know me in school, they were like, look, she is a royal firecracker. Why? I can't explain. But now that I'm mentoring, girls, all across the world, I just got a mentorship in Jamaica. It's having these conversations with our girls. It's I know what y'all going through. You don't even know what you're going through, but I know what you're going through because I didn't know what I was going through at that time. But now I'm realizing it's just a part of growing up. It's part of, your hormones. It's a part of your lifestyle, the way you live, what you want, your aspirations. And it's kind of like that person that's yelling to come out, but it doesn't have a voice, so you take it out in anger or frustration or even failure for some people, because they resort to, alcohol or drugs or violence or the system, So it's pretty cool now because it's oh, thank God I didn't end up with anything negative happening. It all turned to positive. But having those conversations now, I'm at least to be more, helpful, knowledgeable, if that makes sense.
And the reason why I was going to say that, but since you did tell us that you didn't play basketball, you ran track, Chicago Sky, they won the championship yesterday, right?
I seen it,
but it wasn't to me prime time. And if you was the owner of Chicago Sky, how would you fight for equal rights? It's the same as what the guys get. I mean, we know they're probably not going to make the big money like the guys make, but it can be fair. And I just, since we have you on, I think, and you own a team, what would be some of the things that you would try to accomplish if you was the owner of Chicago Sky?
Let me first throw this out there that I'm a Libra, okay? So if anybody knows anything about astrology, Libras are the sign of justice, right? That's our sign. So I personally cannot sit and hear excuses. Do that make sense? It's right. I am literally left or right, up, down, yes, no, okay? So if I say we need equal pay, it's yes or no. Do you see what I'm saying? If there's no, now you have to tell me why. Okay. And I feel like everybody right now is dancing around the topic so much that they're not really forcing anybody to say why. It's just that simple. It's equal opportunity is not that hard to accomplish. So since you don't want to do it, tell me why.
Right.
So I feel like the women, the WNBA players, like they need to. Y'all don't want to pay me, just like if they went to a job, like they could have worked at McDonald's. If you go to McDonald's and you work there for 12 hours and you tell them, give me my check, and they don't pay you, what you gonna do? You quitting. You like, look, y'all not paying me. Bye. Like
Right.
it's gonna take a powerful movement for somebody to say, like, I'm not doing this. Like, why? Like, you have to explain to me why I'm not getting equal pay.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
and then
Well,
you have to tell me that to my face.
But they're not generating the income.
But why ain't they generating income?
See, that's the thing. I don't know. I know they
The
want to. I know they
lateral-
want to. I
the
understand,
lateral
but the NBA has been around 50 years. I think it'll get there. But like you were saying earlier, Liv, they didn't do a good job of promoting that game yesterday because you missed it. I missed it. A few of my boys missed it. It was on at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
We thinking 7, 8 o'clock.
Right. Prime time.
Yeah, so
So
they
do you
got to
think-
do a better job.
Do y'all feel like this is by accident though? Like, you talking about players getting max contracts of over $200 million and more. So you accidentally forgot to promote that? Like, you don't have the money to promote this? Is that what you're telling me? Like, I'm sorry. Again, the sign of justice. You're not going to tell me that this was on pure accident, that you just so happened to be on the worst rating time. We all, like, let's talk about insights, right? Instagram.
Right.
Instagram, they show you the time that your people are most active online. And you picked the most non-active to, you know what I'm saying, to go live.
2 o'clock is the most
something.
non-active time for sports.
On a Sunday?
On a Sunday, because people at church and all of that stuff.
You're grocery. I'm saying this as a mom. You're grocery shopping. You get your clothes out for school tomorrow. I'm cooking. Get out of my face. Like, you're doing everything at 2 o'clock besides watching the WNBA. Okay. Now, even for the NBA, I'm not watching LeBron at 2 o'clock. I'm washing clothes on a Sunday. I'm getting the kids ready on a Sunday. Now, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, y'all better get out my face. I'm about to, you know what I'm saying? Like, as a parent, like, but nah. And it's too many contracts out here to say you cannot get it right. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. And I think they need to do a better job of highlighting too, like meaning the fancy plays. These girls they be out there doing fancy things just like the boys, but you don't highlight it, you don't put it out there, you don't market it. If I'm just gonna throw out a name, Allen Iverson crossed over Michael Jordan, you saw it all over. You saw it all over social media, right? So people, these little kids were saying, I want to be like Allen Iverson. He crossed the goal, but for the girl side of things, you don't see that as much. You don't see.
What's her name? Anderson? I think she plays for
the Vegas.
The Sky.
Cool.
Whoever took the shot before Candace, or right after Candace Parker, I forget her name, but her whole play should have been a highlight. Like, she was the reason that they went from, I want to say 74 to like 78 or 74 to 76. I can't remember the actual score, but nobody gave her thanks. And this is just me being an honest person. Okay. I love Candace Parker. Candace Parker is an amazing player. Like, her grit is phenomenal. Okay. But there are other moving parts to that team. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the moving parts was the play that was made after Candace Parker, in which won them the championship. And you haven't heard anything about this young lady. You haven't seen her anywhere. And that's why, again, I've been approached by the WNBA, but I don't think they would be ready for me to be sitting at the table. I'm just being honest. I got some hard questions.
They do need you. They do.
Yeah, I'm hearing that often.
Yeah,
I'm hearing that very often.
So let's go ahead and start talking about the Vipers, right?
Okay.
The ABA. I know a little bit about the ABA from back in the day, right?
Yeah.
When they made that big movement, they had the George Gervins of the world, the Artis Gilmores, and then the NBA came in and stepped in and said, come over here. But the ABA was more their style,
Yeah.
and the NBA said, you know what, we need that style over here. So they crossed over to do that. Now the ABA had died down, and then it came back again, resurfaced again, and we know the ABA now is not the same as it was before. So tell some of our listeners what the ABA is all about now.
The one thing that I will give kudos for is the fact that it is a very diverse league. Okay, so you're talking about a league now full of minority owners. Okay, so they're a league that's actually giving minorities the opportunity to actually purchase a team. In fact, I think they're one of the largest leagues to do so. Because you don't really see a lot of that in other in other leagues. Okay, so that's what I do give them kudos for. Does it look like the ABA from, like you said, Garvin and Dr. J or Julius Erving? No, because most of these people aren't in stadiums. You know what I'm saying? Like some of them are playing out of high schools. Like even for us, like we're in a campus, but our location is a high school, but it seats 3,700 people. You know what I'm saying? So,
Okay.
but it's all about presentation. Like you have a lot of great teams in the ABA, and then you have your offsets sometime, right? Where it's like, how did you get this team? Like, what did you do? Like, no, like you just hold out this season and come back stronger next year. But that's just any league. You know what I'm saying? You have those I hate to say it, New York Knicks. You know what I'm saying? Like you have those teams that just need a little bit more work than others, like the Nets. Like just stuff like that. So it's a good league for myself because it's a stepping stone and it's a way for me to create my path of where I'm going. That's as far as I can go with that part.
Okay. And for the players, like, so just say I have a player, I'm an agent. He's not getting that look in the NBA, but I need him to be playing somewhere so he can get those looks. Is the ABA for him to help him get to that next level?
So when you look at the ABA, now you got to go into diversified teams, okay? Because you have some really good teams in the ABA, but you have to pick a team in which has those networks and alliances. Like, again, I can speak for myself, so I'm going to speak for the Vipers. The Vipers is accountable for 57 people being paid and going overseas, okay? The Vipers has connections between the NBA, G League, NBA, and I don't even really, have much to do with the female side, but we still have accolades, for professional overseas ball for females. So, but that's my team. Do you see what I'm saying? Speaking only for myself, we make sure that we have the ability to get our players placed. Are there teams that have phenomenal players and they've never gone anywhere? Yeah. But that's because, again, like I always say, you could be the best at something, but if nobody knows about it, what good is it?
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, so you're going to be the best player on a team, but the team has no network.
Right.
What good is that? Like, okay, you win every game. Kudos. Congratulations. You got the dub. But where are you going? You've been doing the same thing for 5-6 years and you haven't made it anywhere yet. Like, and sometimes it's a lot of reasons to that, but for the most part, like we talked about HBCUs and Harvard, network, no network.
Right. It's 100% networking. It's 100% networking and relationships.
Yeah.
So that's
what's up.
Yeah. So you are that type of owner. Not just in it to fill your pockets, to get your pockets fat or what have you, but I'm in it to help our players become someone to go play on somewhere and make some money to be able to support their families. And there's a lot of people that don't think like that. I didn't have ABA owners. I played for an ABA team before, and I've heard conversations before of, man, I need to get people in these stands and I need to get my pockets fat. I don't care about what they do, these players. I just need.
I don't know why they would have that theory, because if pockets fat is the reason that you joined the ABA, you going backwards at this. I'm telling you that right now. I've been an owner for 6 years, and I'm just now actually seeing the residual effects of owning my team.
Right. And I think a lot of people, I'm just gonna say basketball players. I think a lot of basketball players, especially when it comes to those semi-pro, pro teams, pro leagues, and thinking about, I'm gonna get rich. I'm gonna get rich playing in the ABA. They're gonna pay me every week, and I'm gonna get this amount of money and this and that. And that's not the case. That is that's a stepping stone, like you said. Like, if you want to go somewhere, you're gonna have to make some sacrifices. And do you take care of your players, meaning their housing and all that, or is that something they have to take care of on their own?
No, that's something that we take care of. Like we have a player that's coming in from Hawaii. We got 3 of the Jamaican national team players, and we have 2 of the Bahamas national team players. So we'll be actually bringing them into, Illinois to play for us. This is my first time ever doing like the housing effect, just to be honest, because I usually have more local guys, so I didn't really need it. But now that we have it, yeah, it is something. We also are offering our guys Bitcoin. Like most people are dealing with cryptocurrency right now or trying to figure out cryptocurrency. We like, all right, forget it. We'll give you a bonus in cryptocurrency. Like now you got some money to play with to figure out what cryptocurrency is about. But again, you can't be innovative in your career if you don't have an innovative leader. Like, how do you want to be the next, Mark Cuban, but you aren't being led by a Mark Cuban, or you're not being mentored by a Mark Cuban? You're being mentored by I don't know. The best person I could say is like Matilda. Remember her daddy, how he was doing the little poor car salesman stuff? Like, if you got that as a leader, it's not gonna work. So some people just gotta know who's leading them, basically.
Wow. So you're doing a lot. You're not just owning a team. You actually, sharing some knowledge with some of these young guys and fellows that's trying to make a career, for themselves, not just on the basketball side, but on the business side of things too. So that's awesome. That's nice. So now, not only are you doing that, but you're doing something across the water. You're going overseas. You're going in the UK and purchasing teams over there. Now, how did that come about?
Well, I've been going to London, England for the last 4 or 5 years now. So our first time going there, like I loved it. Like the type of love and support that we get there is mind blowing. Like, to not speak on every topic that is happening right now amongst our nation, right? You can literally go over into the United Kingdom and have surprisingly a peace of mind. You know what I mean? Like we were running around, walking around. We out 1, 2, whatever a.m. If I just want to run to the store, if I want to go get something to drink, whatever, And it was such a comfortable environment. It's like, why do you not have the ability to be and build here? Do that make sense? Like if it's given to you, if it's granted to you, this is another opportunity again for me to bring boys from Chicago to the UK and say, this is where you could take a deep breath of air. You know what I'm saying? Like this is where you can be who you really want to be. This is where you could do what you want to do. Be who, it's just, I loved it. And going over there, I seen the level of competition because I'm not one to just, go somewhere and it's like, okay, it's easy, let's do it. Like, but to see the level of competition over there, you got these guys that are in the BBL. You got some of these guys that are in the Champions League, which is the highest league that I like. I feel like it's notable. It's competitive pay, competitive play, and I just loved it. So I said, you know what? I got to start somewhere. So, I put in a request to purchase a team there, which I'm under NDA right now. So I can't say exactly the league that I'm under, but I will be the first African-American female once it's announced to own a division team. To own a division team in the UK.
Wow. Bob has sons.
Let's go. Let's go.
Send them.
I want to ask you
to America.
Quick though. I want to ask you something though. You're dealing with all men. How do you keep them in check?
Right.
Again, like I told y'all, from like 12 to 17, I had a phase where it's just like, don't play with me. You know what I'm saying? So my parents are Southern, right? My dad has Kentucky, Tennessee background. My mom is, New Orleans, Mississippi background. So it was just like, I'm Southern, we're going to speak our mind, like, or raised Southern. We're going to speak our mind, like, raised in the Midwest. So, I never really been a scary individual. So you cross me, you gonna know. That's just
wow. Yeah, that's a good question too, Bob. That you got a lot of knuckleheads out here.
I'm telling you, man.
That won't take no for an answer. Like no,
I'm not. I'm not. I know. I get this all. My dad be telling me all the time. Like, you always overseas somewhere. You all the way in Asia by yourself. You all the way. Like, he like, what are you like? You don't want. You don't. I think you need security. He always tells me that, and I'm like, okay. Like, again, it's all about networking. You know what I mean? Like, networking don't always have to be from Yale to Princeton. It could be from Kingston to Montego Bay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in the city. Pull up if I need you. Like I'm not trying to be funny, but this is just genuinely how I feel about situations and how I am. And I feel like people don't know that about my personality. Some do, others don't, where it's just not a concern for me, you know?
Did I
Like,
miss what high school did you go to?
so I went to Pontiac Northern High School, located in
Okay.
Pontiac, Michigan. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pontiac, Michigan. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you tough. I like that. I like that, Liv. You think I might be able to go play? You think I'm 53? I still got a
So
crossover left, Liv.
you might. You actually might. Like, I look
Man.
forward to it. If you want to try out, like, if you want to be the 13th man, you let me know.
Wow, wow, she said 13th man, dude.
Hey, no, I want to come commentate one game. Let me come commentate. I want to commentate one game. You ain't even got to pay me, man. I'll do
You
anything
got
just
it.
to come support, man, because I admire what you're doing, being an African American young lady around all this
Thanks.
testosterone and keeping these dudes in check and all of that, and then you aspiring to be it with the G League. You know what put that on your heart with the G League though? Because I know Liv has said you talking about getting with the G League. Well,
Yeah, my
that's
overall
pretty
goal is
big.
to own the NBA G League team. I went for G League because we all know the price right now at a
For
minimum, I
NBA.
want to say for NBA is it's a ticket, you know, like
Yeah.
but the good thing again about networking is you meet a lot of people that can afford that ticket. You know what I'm saying? So if you
Uh-huh.
want to come in as a percentage owner with me, like they're at the ready. But again, I try not to take on more than what I know I'm capable to deliver. And it's like for me, I'm capable of delivering at a G League level. This is the same thing that you're dealing with when you got a Division 1 team. It's the same thing you're dealing with when you got BBL teams. It's the same thing you're dealing with when you got an ABA team. It's all about how you run it. So that kind of I'm staying in my lane with that one. But I know if I had an NBA G League team, probably would be one of the most diverse and competitive teams in the lineup.
Mm.
You see that, Bob? Yeah.
I'd like to be one of the first black women to be a development coach. Somebody put that up there, but they're not part of the network, so we don't know who that is.
Right.
It's doable.
Yeah.
Like first means that you worked the hardest and you got to it before somebody else did.
Right, right, exactly. So let's talk about more about the Vipers because we want people to come and support the Vipers. We want. I know it's located in Gurnee, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
How could people like get in contact? Is it a website that they can go to so they can find out when the games, the schedules, and being played? And
Oh yeah.
are you networking with Chicago Public Schools to try to get some of those kids to come out that way? You know, because it is probably a little bit more safer to come out to Gurnee and watch a game than it is, in
Yeah.
Chicago.
The funny thing is, like, I haven't really done any networking with like the CPS school system yet, but we have worked with a lot of large foundations in Chicago, such as like Big Brothers Big Sisters. We're working with I forget the lady's name I forget the program, but they take orphans, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and they basically give them or put them into a trade. So what I usually do, and this is funny because like I never really asked her like more information. Once I heard what she was doing, it was just like, come on, you know. But I do have to get their name so I can give it, more
Mm-hmm.
colloquially, right? But they basically will come in and shadow me for like as I'm setting up for the Vipers or if I'm having certain meetings or marketing meetings to basically give them some knowledge of trade. But for CPS, I haven't done that. We are in alliance with a lot of the schools in Lake County, which they do actually support us. Warren supports us. Round Lake schools support us. Most of Lake County regional offices actually support us, which I really do love it and I really respect it. We got a lot of love from the mayor and a lot of the accolades, of the city and of the county. So, but I haven't really ventured out too much into the Chicagoland area because I try to be respectful because there are teams in Chicago, and it's like
Oh.
here she
Mhm.
go dipping her, I'm saying? She all the way over here in our
Uh-huh.
territory. Like, go back where you came from. So I try to keep it separate. But when it comes to something massive or something big, like yeah, I definitely will partner and I definitely will collaborate. So.
Well, so you saying you be kicking their butt? That's what you saying on the court. Y'all team be kicking their butt. That's
You
what you
know,
saying.
we struggled for a while. I'm not even gonna lie. Like my first year, like man, we blew through. We got all the way to the regional finals, but like after like year 2, year 3, we just was like, we could not get it together. Like, and then I just got our new coach. Well, he's been with us for almost going on 2 years now. He's the former NWR Navy coach. And then our other coach went to Purdue Cal. So they're kind of like getting it together for me as far as what I want out of my team, which is a defense first team, you know. So far it's been looking
Pretty
great.
good.
And then now that we have these additional players that are coming in, I feel very confident going into the season. Like, you know, they say be concerned of the one that don't talk the most trash, because they know something everybody else don't know. So while everybody else talking trash, I'm sitting here like, okay, like we'll see.
Right.
Let's see how it goes. So that's where I'm at with it.
And us Chicagoans, the only thing we know at Gurnee is what, Bob?
Great America,
Great
baby.
America.
Great
I knew he was gonna say Great
And
America.
Gurnee Outlet Mall. You got the
Outlet Mall. That's right.
Gurnee
Did
Mills
they
and
close
Great
down
America.
that water park out there? Remember the water park there recently opened up? Did they close that down out there? It was an indoor water park.
Oh, you thinking about
Key Line Cove.
Key Line Cove. They turned it into Great Wolf Lodge, which we're actually working on a partnership with them right now. And it's just as great. They have it as Great Wolf Lodge right now, and it's literally like, I was just there like last week or so. Like it's phenomenal. Like they redid the whole thing. Yeah, they made it more of like that Great Wolf Lodge wolf, you know, effect, but it's really nice. It's still something for the kids to do. It does. It still has a water park. It's nice.
I love Gurnee, man. It's like going out of town there for us, right?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
45 minutes outside of Chicago.
Still going out of town.
And I just found out who was that said that too, Bob. That was Miss Foster.
Oh, okay.
Miss Foster. Do you know Miss Foster?
No. I'm a face person.
Yeah, Miss Foster's she's a trainer. She's a developer. You might want to reach out to her. That's what Arthur Agee just said. That's who it was.
Okay.
Yeah, but she's a good trainer. So what else you got going on? You say you want the not the WNBA, the G League. You want to own a G League, and you owning the Vipers. You got the UK on lock. What else you trying to do? I know your ultimate goal.
I have so many projects that I am stirring up right now. Like, I literally just launched my first planner, because the number one question people ask me, they're like, how do you keep all of this and like organized? They like, okay, you're a mom. Like, my kids are also homeschooled. I don't know if I mentioned that.
No.
So like all of my children are homeschooled now. And so he's like, okay, you keeping up with work, you're even a dog, okay? Like, it's not okay. The dog he's been the most extra person throughout this whole journey, but we ain't gonna get on him yet. But it's just one of those things where it's like, you have to have your schedule extremely booked, tight, and confirmed. Like, which is why I'm about to start looking for an executive assistant to help me with that, as far as like just keeping my schedule together. But that's the point of my planner, though. Like, my planner is really just to kind of help people to kind of stay on schedule and to help them kind of like, just stay motivated. Like, when you own businesses and stuff like that, or you're a parent, or, it's really hard to just continue to look at the finish line, because you are so thrown off by so many different things, especially if you have, like I said, being a parent, you like, okay, so this might be the Southern in me. It's like, what's wrong with you now? Like, okay, so now I got to take some time to figure out what's going on over here and figure out how I can fix it and help it. And then what's this? Okay, you back on the course in the straight and narrow again. So it's just one of those things. And then obviously I'm working on my book, and I'm actually creating like a laundry detergent. Like, this goes to show you how much clothes that I wash, that I literally came up with my own laundry detergent. But it's a lane, and from what I'm learning, being in that lane, it's pretty lucrative, and it is looking very, hopeful for me right now. So I gotta go get it. It's called London Gale. So it should be launched in a month. London Gale. Yeah.
Well, me and Bob talk about this all the time when we on the phone, about you got to have multiple streams of income. You just can't have one thing. You got to have. I mean, most successful business people have a bunch of things out there. And I think that's a good thing. If you can handle it, it's a great thing, but if you can't, if you just, coming up with ideas and throwing things out and saying, okay, what's happening with that, and then throw this one out. No, you still got to put the time and effort into each one of those.
True. I always go back to Diddy when he was like, you know how many Jordans black kids wear? Like, if y'all ever remember him when he said that line, like,
Yeah.
you gotta have a hustle per child. That's just how I
Yeah.
see it. Like, as
You
a
really
who
do.
I am as a person. Like, you can't just look at one stream of income and be like, okay, this gonna help us, get to wherever. Like, people not trying to help because they need help themselves. So it's only up to you now to create that path. And I'm really big when it comes to like debt, obviously, because I had my own credit company at one point. I don't want my kids going into the fiasco of student loan debt and I'm stuck with a car note, I'm stuck with insurance, I'm stuck with all of these, obligations that seclude me from being able to live the life I want to live or be stressed out, because that's kind of where a lot of our health issues come from, right? Bills, stress, all that. So I'm just trying to basically break those generational barriers with them, where it's like, you don't have to do everything. Like, even for my daughter, she's about to turn 18. I'm like, you're not moving out until you got X amount of money in the bank. And everybody was looking at me like, well, if they're 18, they can do what they want. No, at 18,
No.
that was a past thing that we did generationally. Like, oh, you 18 now, you could get out, just so people could avoid the responsibility of their child. No, you 18, I'm not putting you out in the world until you on your feet and you got the right money that I know and I feel like you're comfortable with. So that's just kind of where we are right now.
And
It's a cruel world.
And she's okay with that.
Oh yeah. She's very much okay with that. And she's like, okay, I want my car. And once I get my car, like, nothing else really matters. So it's like, all right, well, let's get
Let
the
me
car.
ask you something real quick. Where does all your motivation come from? Because I mean, I know I'm always thinking of stuff and I'm always doing stuff. And I know where mine come from. I won't say, but where does yours come from? Because you got a lot.
I would say that my motivation comes from my kids. My family, like my mother and father's side of the family, are both Native American. So I see a lot of what it was when they were in their prime, if that makes sense, and the opportunities that were just not available for them. So I would consider it selfish myself to have all of the opportunity in the world and still have the same outcome as people or anybody that didn't have the potential or didn't have the opportunity, if that makes sense. So my motivation is, if you have the ability to do it. Like, why not? So that's kind of where my kids are very much my motivation. Like, they drive me so much. Like, there's times where, everybody have their moments, right? I'm sure y'all do. Y'all in the sports industry. You like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to do nothing.
Right. I was like that this morning.
My kids are such a motivation to me, where they like, no, like, I'm the mama. They like, we ain't doing this today. Come on. Like, and I love that. So I know if they gonna go hard for me like that, I gotta go hard for them like that, and make sure that they have what they need. So that's my motivation. And my mom, she's small, but she's mighty. Okay. So I want to make sure that she get everything that she deserved, because she looked out for all her girls. She made sure we was all good. Like, we ain't want for nothing really. She worked 2-3 jobs if she had to, and I can't come in after her being lazy, like, oh, I don't want to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, to do that, knowing that your parents struggle and knowing that your parents, needed at when you were a child, like, and you don't want to do something, that's not cool. So.
All right. Now, and you spoke on this earlier. You said you from Michigan. You lived in Michigan. What made you move to Illinois? From Michigan. Was it your parents, or was it that's what you wanted?
The funniest thing is, I'm sorry, I'm getting calls at the same time. But the thing with that was, I had a job offer, and I moved all the way out here for the job offer. And as soon as I got the job offer, they were like, "Oh, we gave it to our cousin."
What?
Yep. And again, Native Americans, right? Like, you have to believe in the divine. You know what I'm saying? You have to believe that there is purpose, because before I agreed to any of this, the number one thing that was on my mind was getting my team up and running and making sure that it was a success. And I was like, okay, whatever it is that I need to do, I'm just going to do it. The first opportunity I get, I'm going to take it. And the job came up. And once I moved here, like, I wasn't probably in my house. Now, mind you, at the time frame, I came in with a house, and I'll just throw numbers out there just to be honest. Like, I came in with a house with $2,800 a month due. And I had, at that time, 3 of my kids. And I'm sitting here like, now what? You know what I'm saying? Like, even though, I was conditioned to have money in the bank and to save. It's like, what you gonna do now? Like, so when I got here, and I always tell people this story, like I was just driving around. I want to say it was a place called Volo, if I stand corrected, and I ended up getting a job in Lake Zurich, and I'm like, driving through to get to my employer at the time frame, and I got lost in Volo, and like my phone died in this process. Like this is probably the second time I've ever told this story, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, because like my phone didn't show any signs of like the battery being low, none of that. Like it just went kaput, like just drowned out. So I remember sitting at a light, and there was like a light pole or whatever you want to call it. And I look over. This is my first time also ever seeing a vulture, okay, in my life. And he was swinging on a light pole, and like I done seen enough scary movies to know that you just don't do stuff like this. But I rolled my window down, right? And I looked at it, and I said, what is that? Like, and it looked over at me, and it yelled. I swear to y'all, like I pulled off so quick, went to the gas station, and they were like, oh, a couple streets over is Libertyville. And they were like, if you go to Libertyville, they'll be able to give you instruction on how to get back to where you live, right? So I go to Libertyville, and I'm talking to like all of these people. I'm like, okay, so this is where I stay, how I get there. And they're like, oh, you got to take N59, you do this, and that. So I'm like, okay, writing stuff down. And like, I'm like, dang, it's actually pretty nice here. Like, this is how I originally became the Libertyville Vipers. Like, I'm not gonna act like it's a phenomenal story. Like, I really got lost. Like, my phone really died, and I really landed in Libertyville. And when I was in the gas station, I remember I was having a conversation. They were like, what do you plan to do while you're here? And I'm like, well, I got this job, and I'm trying to start my team. And they were like, oh, well, they got a Libertyville sports complex. And they were like, if you, if you're trying to start your team, you should go up there and you should, have conversations with them. And that's how the Libertyville Vipers was born. It started with me having conversations at the Libertyville Sports Complex. We called ourselves the Libertyville Vipers, and we didn't really have any support from Libertyville at the time frame. And I believe in this because of where I come from. You don't just go claiming hoods. You know what I'm saying? So like, I know they felt some type of way about me naming my team the Libertyville Vipers, and I didn't go to their local municipalities. I didn't talk to anybody. You know what I'm saying? And that was like the beginning for me though, to understand like it's levels to this. Like you can't just go in here doing stuff. And I didn't know that, because like I know of sports, I know about the sports culture, I know about what it takes to build a business. Obviously, I've ran a successful business, but it was really mind-boggling to me that, those people that I met were very, very helpful. Like they were extremely helpful. And it was like, all right, we to sports now. Like, all right, y'all did that with the job, whatever. Like, we'll figure it out. So that's how I ended up in Illinois.
Arthur Agee, ask her, is her team going to play 2 Chicago ABA teams, the Illinois Bulldogs and Chicago Fury?
You know what's funny is they are actually in my conference. And I want to say I reached out to, I'm not going to say I want to say I did. I reached out to Chicago Fury, and they specified that I think the games that I had available versus the games they had available, our schedules didn't match. The Illinois Bulldogs, I want to say are on our schedule, or that might be the Chicago Knights. But we are playing the Chicago team.
How many teams in Chicago?
It's a lot. It's a lot. Because the franchising is what, 10 grand, 20 grand?
It's 10
for ABA team.
Yeah, and they have it where I don't like saturated markets. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? Like anything that I do, I need to be competitive in my market. If you're gonna drop this much in one area, now we're all fighting for resources. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how it was back in the day. Like kill or be killed. You know what I'm saying? So it's really crazy that you would drop this many entities in one, because how do you ever create a face or a name or a legacy, like behind that? So that was another reason why I was kind of glad to be in Lake County, which, so unfortunately it's not saturated.
I have to speak on this then. I have to. Seeing, I didn't know that, that it was that many teams. It seems like, and this is me talking, not you, right? So I don't want anybody to get any, trouble or anything.
You sure you're not a ventriloquist?
I'm just saying. I'm saying this to say, but it seems like whoever, I don't know who's running the ABA, they're just out for the money. To get that many teams in one location, dude. I'm not. If I'm trying to help the organization becomes successful, I'm going to put maybe one team in Chicago, maybe two, one on the south side and one on the west side. And then, you got the suburbs. I say she has the suburbs on lock. So you handle the suburbs and let the two Chicago teams, market and do their thing. But if you got 7, 8 teams, I don't know how many they have. It's hard to, like you said, you're going to be fighting over the same players. And what can a player switch? Can a player say, well, I don't like the Fury. Can I go over here to the Deacons or whatever?
I'm kind of glad that you kind of brought that part up, because they can actually. And based off of how I grew up, like I grew up where you got to stand on something. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't just jump here to here, do this, do that, do anything that you want, and it's okay. Like the league and teams do have protocols, but now we got to talk about the type of individuals that you would come into contact with. You know what I'm saying? Like if you playing for one team and they tell you, no, you ain't getting playing time, you forget it. I'm just gonna go to the 10th team that's in the city, because they're gonna pick me up because they're looking for players. It doesn't really create the level of, I'm not gonna say protocol, but it doesn't create the level of value. If I could just say, all right, you don't want to play me, I'm going to Jane Doe team, she gonna play me then. Right. It does make it less competitive. You'll find that in our league too, that everybody knows each other. Like the era that I come from, if we hooping, don't talk to me. Like I'm not getting on the court laughing with you. I'm not talking to you. We not cool. No. Like now after the game over, we could go get something to eat. You know what I'm saying? We could chop it up. How the kids, how the family, right? But when we on the court, it ain't none of that. And like I have found that because it is an oversaturated market, that it is easy for people to play sides. You'll have people, like for me, I've had people send players to me just to see how our organization operates. Wow. And then once the season starts, they skip and they go right back to the other team. And it's like, when you grow up under certain principles, you know a Mo when you see one. So we gonna give you everything that Mo's need. Do you see what I'm saying? Like that's just how it is. Like, all right, here, take that. You gonna go back with all the wrong information, and we know you the Mo now because we only gave you that information. You feel me? Like, so it's just, and people don't know that about me, but they see, like I said, like they see the Harvard, they see the face, they see who I am, how I operate, and they assume like street smarts just never is the first thing that crosses their mind with me. Right. I don't know why, but that's the first thing that we were taught as kids. Right.
So somebody said that's an adult AAU circuit.
I would think that they would have like a no compete clause though.
I do. I have 6 attorneys.
Right.
So we have NDAs, we have a non-complete clause, we have restrictions on people, like you can't do business with anybody. Like I've had people literally like see the people that we do business with, like sponsors, and go to them. They'll send somebody to go try to do business with the sponsor right after me. Like the era of ethics, when it comes to how people do business is very saturated because they don't know the rules. You know what I'm saying? And it takes a certain type of person to know the rules when it comes to business. But I don't say much.
But RJ, that's because you have that business knowledge, right? Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if the ABA looks at certain people's background, or they just taking their money. I could keep going back to the money part because you have that many teams, and you just telling me you creating these clauses in your team, your organization. I think that should come from the top. The ABA should be saying, this is the rules and this is what you got to abide by. If you don't, we're going to take your team. We're going to take your team away from you, because we got to make sure everything is ran the right way. And every team should be running the same thing, the same way. It doesn't seem like that's the case to me. I'm just looking.
I feel like it's the goal, because, you know, I get the emails from the league. You know, I get the, you know, my team, my staff, like I myself per se, I'm not always on, you know, like our local district calls and stuff like that, but it's the goal. Absolutely. But again, when something is so affordable, everybody got it. Do you see what I'm saying? So the Jays just came out, we'll say 2 days ago, 3 days ago. We all got them on, but can we all afford them?
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we could wear it, but I just bought it because everybody else got it. Like, that's just kind of what people are when it comes to business. Like, people are out here, you know, buying businesses because they can afford it then, but can you afford to keep it going? Can you afford to, maximize it? Can you afford to expand it or network it or grow it? You know, like it takes a certain type of skill to have that. So I do feel like for the league itself, they do have a lot of rules. They do want their league to be a competitive one voice league, but in all actuality, there is no one that can control a human.
Hey, let me
And
hop
I
in
think
real
that's where
quickly.
Mhm.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
See,
I was
I
gonna say
think what
that's where
happened
the
with
issues are.
I think what happened with the ABA was when the G League came, the ABA semi-folded. Isaiah Thomas walked away from the ABA. You familiar with the story? Isaiah Thomas was
The CBA.
the CBA. Okay, so that was the CBA.
That was
Okay,
CBA.
but so the ABA, with it being affordable at $10,000, because I know I had a girl that bought a team. I actually gave her some money on it, and she bought a team out in Indiana, and she was going to be the Indiana part of it. But so many people was getting these teams, and they wasn't getting them going. But you still have the licensing rights once you spend that money, right?
Yeah, like
So
any franchise, yeah.
right. So it's just like the NBA. You got teams who are like the Lakers, and then you got the worst teams in the NBA. And it's people like her who gonna make her team what it is. Because if you go to Miami, they got some serious teams out there, right?
Yeah, like Florida, their market is
It's
phenomenal.
crazy.
Like
Yeah.
you got like guys like the Jacksonville Giants, you know, if you take the time to Google them, like you got the South Florida Gold, like yeah, and
Yeah.
again, I'm not knocking none of the Chicago teams, like because there's some good owners in Chicago, like competitive. Like you got the Fury, like they have a competitive team, like but the only issues that we have again is there's so many other moving parts that we can't accomplish because either saturated market, either because of the instances that are happening within our culture or the instances that are happening against our culture. So it's going to be one of those three that you're running into that's not going to allow your organization to move forward unless you have a certain type of skill. In which for
Right.
me, I was blessed to have that. So
Well, there you have it. You're running your program, and you're not worried about anybody else's, program, and that's the way it should be, And I think if I was, one of the founders of the ABA, I'll make sure that I'm going to visit each and every team that I have under my umbrella, the ABA, to make sure that they're running it right, and I would do that, because that's what it should be. Giving everybody an opportunity to make some money off of this, because I know you are in it to make some money. You're not just doing it to be doing it, and we got to make sure everybody's eating. And I don't think that's happening. Because I knew a guy who owned an ABA team too, and I actually played for him. And I said, you can use my likeness, but you're gonna have to break bread with me.
right.
So that was the partnership that we had. And then there was some other players are saying, "Man, we're not even getting paid." So it's damn if you do and damn if you don't. So you got to be
I mean,
very
because
careful.
if you don't pay your players, right, you at least gotta bring something else to the table. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
okay, so and honesty is the number one policy. Like I was just talking to another team not too long ago where he's honest. He's like, look, I ain't got the money to pay y'all, but I can guarantee to get you looks overseas. I can guarantee to get you, in front of the right people. And like where I come from, I respect honesty. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't come to me flogging, don't come to me telling me all the stuff you could do and all this. Like, I've been in a room with with billionaires. Do you see what I'm saying? And everything of what they exhibited was nothing of what I see the Flodgers doing. Do that make sense? So when I come in the room, I know what y'all look like. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like, it ain't no point of doing that with me. I know what it is. Like, and I think that's what people have to understand. So for those people that are starting businesses, or they're, you know, creating their own business, or they even might want to have their own maybe team or something one day, like, just be you. Like, you doing everything else because you think that's how it's supposed to look is the opposite. Because people that know, like, we see, we don't want to be involved. Like, and that's probably a lot of reasons of why a lot of people can't make it. Like, because they're doing the most.
I'm going to ask you one last question, because I know Lynn will probably want to get this up on IG, and I know I can talk to you for an hour. Lib said everything is open, so we can ask you. So, are you married? Are you single? What's your status?
Single, yeah. Yeah, I'm single. But that's because I'm not trying to really go off into a lot of that right now. Like, I'm really big with energy, right? And the more you're trying to attain a goal, and if you have somebody around that does not match that energy, the only thing that they can do is stagnate you. Yeah.
Kill it.
Like, it's not conducive for you to have a goal and then you wake up excited and, you know, motivated, and you look over at the person and they like, I got attitude today. You know what I'm saying? You like, like everything that I just had planned is just kind of going down the window. So that's where I'm at right now. Offers, of course. Like, I think I probably get like, maybe this is maybe an over exaggeration, but not too far away, but maybe 2,000 something DMs a day.
Wow.
So if I wanted to, it would be, it's nothing. But right now I'm just kind of focused on my goals.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. Because I totally understand it, man. Because relationships, man, it becomes a part of your everyday life, and and people who like work like a normal 9 to 5 every day, and they don't have other interests, they see that as the most important thing. And people like you, myself, Marcus, who juggle multiple tasks, you know, you tell them something great, and it's like, oh, here you go again.
Yeah,
and that kills you, man.
Yeah,
it really it eats on the inside.
You can see jealousy, like you can see jealousy a mile away, especially when you are, because I'll say this, and I know like y'all want to finish up, but you can have something so big brewing, right? And it can be very important to you, and you can go up to somebody and you can say, man, this is what I got going on. That first reaction tells you a lot about how much a person believes in you. Do you know what I'm saying? And for myself, you know, because, and I'm sorry, you have to forgive me because I'm trying to find the right words without saying something where they're going to quote me on it, okay? Right. Where I grew up, it was, you know, like I just so dislike sometimes of how our childhood is with growing up in a certain era. Like, can you believe that us as African Americans, we grow up in a culture where it's not cool for you to have good news? You know what I'm saying? It's not cool for you to boast, or it's not cool for you to do something like right. Like, good is corny, you know, in the era when I was coming up. Like, oh, if you ain't out here in the streets, or you ain't out here doing all this other type of stuff, like you a lame. It's like, now I be telling my kids, man, I want you to be lame as hell. Excuse my language. Like, be lame. Like, especially for my son. Like, you don't need to do all of that to fit in. Like, you got money in your pocket, you got, you know, a roof over your head, you got clothes and shit on your, clothes and stuff on your back. Like, you don't have to do none of that, you know? Right. So as I look at it now, when you're picking a mate or somebody to be in a relationship with, they're brought up with that same principle. You know what I'm saying? Like, because our culture doesn't change. It only evolves and goes to different people. And when you building something, you can't have that type of energy around you. And it's more of that than not. And like, you know, Mr. Liberty, we talked about that when we were on the phone. Like, you just gotta pick a lane and stand on it. Like, I've been through a lot throughout my journey. Like, I've been on this team for 6 years. I've had relationships. I've been divorced. Like, and all of that, I never stopped working. Like, you're not going to get me to stop going toward my goals and my dreams, all because you feel some type of way about me. You see what I'm saying? Like, it ain't nothing I could do to make you feel different about me. So I'm glad you asked that question, because a lot of people ask me that. They'd be like, you know, you're a mom, you know, you're gorgeous, you're this, you're whatever. Like, how do you maintain relationship, and how do you maintain your lifestyle? And it's like, just don't stop working. Because I've seen people lose everything.
You know, I was just thinking that me and you are a lot alike. I think me and you should. No, I'm just kidding. It was just a joke, man. You know, I just wanted to crack a joke right quick. I just wanted to crack a joke right quick. No, I trust me. I'm good. I'm good.
No,
I'm good. But
I know.
let them know I got
You're
jokes,
hilarious.
man, and I have to use it. I have to use those jokes.
You was hilarious.
But no,
that
you know,
really caught me off guard. That never happened.
Yeah, I had to get that. But you know what? I think about that, and it's almost like realistically, you'll probably end up spending the rest of your life working and getting your money and getting focused because it's going to be hard to find somebody to mesh like that unless they already got it. You see what I'm saying?
No, like I'm happy y'all brought this topic up. I swear, because I just finished having like this group argument. Okay, like day before yesterday, because you know it's the weekend and we're like all like just argumentative in my household and friends and whatever. So like I feel like you can mesh with a person, right? But energy is one heck of a thing. Do you see what I'm saying? Like you could I literally like, and I'm not trying to boast or be funny or nothing, like I could find anybody that I would prefer to talk to that has millions of dollars, like all through my inbox. You got the blue check marks, you got NBA, you got NFL, you got MLB, like that's nothing. But money doesn't really equate to the type of example that you could be for my son. You know what I'm saying? Like what does he see you doing? Like my daughters, like, okay, this is how you treat my mama. This is the type of guy I'm gonna date. You know, like it's all about that part, if that makes sense. Like, and you got to meet somebody in the middle too. Like, I've seen everybody with the whole 50-50 thing. I'm old school. Like again, like I said, my family, they're all Southern. Like, I just stand on a different set of principles than most, and that's probably another reason why I seclude myself from certain situations.
It was another thing I wanted to add too. When you was talking about that energy and all of that, you know, Facebook did a poll, and it's and they were going to take the negativity, try to decrease the negativity on Facebook, but because Facebook is driven by negativity, they don't want to get rid of it. Like if you put somebody up, let's just say the guy who the Crime Stopper that followed the crime around Chicago. Soon as that camera go on, he got 2,000-3,000 people watching. Because they know they finna see a dead body, somebody shot, but then here it is, me and you could come on, we might get 200, 300, 400, 500, maybe 1,000 sometimes here or there. See, people gravitate.
It's conditioned thinking though. Like again, like I said before, like growing up, you know, in the environment that we grew up in and around, like it's easier and cooler to know people in the street. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when you in the street, you don't want to be in the street. You know what I'm saying? You like, man, every day is paranoia. Like, why I got to deal with this? Why I got to do that? Like, it ain't as cool as people think, but it's cool because people ain't lived it. You know what I'm saying? So for as long as somebody can see something from a distance and it doesn't actually affect them, they think it's okay, you know? And that's why negativity fuels so quickly on Facebook, because it's like, oh, I could watch it, but I ain't got to be there. Oh, I can see a dead body, but it ain't my cousin. Like, that's kind of where it is. But like when you live through that every day, you like, man, I don't want to see none of that. Like most people that's been through that, they ain't even on Facebook. Like I'm barely on Facebook. I post on Facebook and I'm off. Like I don't want to see nothing. And when it comes to negativity, I don't want to hear it. Like I just, you know, I know you can't avoid it, so to speak, but I also don't want to openly bring that into my energy either. Like, why do I need to hear, you know, about all of that or see all of that, if that makes sense? So,
and you know, they glamorize the hell out the streets. And I, you know, for a short stint of my life, I spent 2 years in the streets hustling and doing that. And I'm gonna tell you, like you said, you want out. You know what I'm saying? Once you so deep into that stuff, you trying to get out. Right. But society, they glamorizing that with our young people, and I just want to leave it at that. You know, even with the rappers, now all the rappers is turning to, they carrying guns now.
I feel like this is probably one of the first eras of artists that they actually are what they rap about. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you right.
You had like NWA, you know, like all those guys were, you know, but pretty much the West Coast, where they was just like, you know, we own that. But you know, the West Coast been on that. Like, you go to LA, I was just in LA. Like, you know, they are who they say they are. Like, period. That's just like you go to Chicago, certain streets of Chicago, you know they are who they say they are. Like, this is the first era of rap where these guys really are doing what they say. And
Yeah.
because of that, people only want to be affiliated with people that do what they say. So now you're dealing with an era of people that's like, okay, they doing it. They really living by it. I'm going to do it too. And like I be telling, my kids friends, I got like guy kids and all that. Like, yeah, like it's a consequence for everything you do in life and every action in life. You know what I'm saying? Like they doing it, but they got a whole new layer of protection. You know what I'm saying? They doing it, but they got a whole different stream of income. Like money can protect you to a degree. It'll protect you more than if you decide to follow in their footsteps and you ain't got the same money that they got, where you end up versus where they end up. Like, so it's just one of those type of things where we got to know or educate, that right from wrong. And a lot of people gave me ridicule for the Vipers because it was like, why are you making your players do 1,000 hours of community service? And I'm like, realistically speaking, we don't give back. Like, what do we do? Like, if we're not forced, like, okay, you get in trouble, you do community service. You're required to do community service. You know what I'm saying? And that's if you get in trouble. But what is enticing us as people, like, to give back? Like, nothing. There's no incentive. There's no requirement. So like I told the guys, you a man. You gotta be a product to your environment. You can't be a man and you out here destroying everything that you touch, everybody that you come across, every relationship that you in. Everybody got a negative taste or a negative connotation about you. Like, give back. Like, that's the only way that I see. Again, this could be because of my background, that a man can flourish is from what he soils or what he grows. If everything you touch, you destroy, you might want to go back to the drawing table. You know what I'm saying? You can't expect to have a healthy career and you ain't never gave nothing. Like, how? Like, I'm just going to jump on and become, the next top NBA phenomenon, but I ain't done nothing but take my whole life? How? That's not even how energy works. That's not how life works. So that was another, reason why. And they love it. Like, I done seen some dudes that came from the hood that came to my team and was like, man, like, I gave away a turkey today. Like, you know what I'm saying? And they loved it. Like, and they enjoyed it. So I think it's just one of those type of things where it's like, sometimes we got to step out of our norm and do something different. So that's kind of
sometimes to see something different, then they get it. They need to see different to be able to do different. And a lot of these kids are stuck in these hoods and stuff like that. So good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's because the way you were raised, right? And you still said, you know what, I'm gonna run my business the kind of the same kind of way. You giving back. Your parents always said, if you do something wrong, you got to get punished for it. If you do something right, you want to get good come back to you. So that's what life to me is all about. Yeah, that's what life is all about, man. And I've been like that, and I'm pretty sure Bob and you yourself is like that, and I'm gonna continue to do that, and we're gonna try to make this world a better place for real.
If not, then I'm definitely gonna try to get a G League team. Like, that's the overall goal. Like, I had learned that at a young age, man. Like, you get what you give. Like, it's just that simple.
And I think you're going to get it. I really do. I mean, you're driven, and I think you are going to get that G League. Just don't forget about us.
Of course not. Like, how could I? Like, you guys are amazing. I really appreciate y'all for having me. The season for the Vipers also starts on November the 13th. So if you guys want to drop by, y'all have tickets for me. Like, if you want to do the 13th man, okay? Because if you feel like you still got it, you can.
I got two hard minutes, boy. I can go for 2 hard minutes, boy.
That's all right.
Before you get out of here, I'm cold in the crib line. I'm cold. I put it around my back under my leg, but check it out. I got this social distance device. This is the world's first social distance device. It's for coaches who, coaches, they've been practicing their games. They get tired of yelling and raising their voice. You can get my social distance device. Now, your coach can amplify his voice 500 square feet and be heard. So check it out on the website, www.coachingdevices.com. The world's first social distance device by your boy, Robert Bobby Reed. Check that out, man.
Bob, you know what you sound like. You sound like a police when you were speaking.
Yeah, man. I got my police jacket on.
Pull up. No,
you said pull over. Okay.
But RJ, we really enjoy having you on the show today. And for more information, go to your website. Is that viperprobasketball.com?
Vipers with an S,
Okay.
vipersprobasketball.com.
There you go. Make sure you go support her and her team. Go out there and enjoy a night out, because everybody can't afford to go to a Chicago Bulls game. So go out
I'm gonna
there and
definitely go.
I
support.
forgot to touch base on that because I don't know any millennials lately that have bought tickets to an NBA game, which is why there needs to be some change there as well. Because, I mean, what was the last time y'all bought tickets to an NBA game?
Yeah.
More
people
reason why I
usually-
need to be in the G League. So it's just
Yeah.
because of that. Like it's a new time and a new change that has to happen when it comes to sparking and piquing the interest of millennials or like thereof. So
Wow.
Yeah, that's
You're right.
crazy. Because
You're
the
right.
tickets, they didn't price everybody out. I mean, I'm used to being on the floor when I go, because one of my buddies, a rich guy, he get the floor. Well, his brother get tickets right behind the visitors bench. So if you call me and ask me to go to a Bulls game and win the nosebleeds, I'm not going, man.
You're not going.
True.
Wow.
It should also be one of those situations like why y'all not live on the sideline?
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's just like I said, even with the WNBA, there's not enough innovativeness, at the table. It's like, oh, this is what works. Let's keep it. It's what works. It's like the stock market. Like we don't have to really do anything, change anything. It's going to run itself. But eventually, as millennials come in, they're going to wonder, like, why I need to invest in stock?
Right.
I got Bitcoin. Like, it's like you have to keep and pique the interest and make it appeasing to the audience. Like you only got a percentage of millionaires. So they're just going to buy their ticket and go. But when you're talking about people that's making a decision between, all right, do I want to buy this shirt or these shoes or whatever, this week, or do I want to go to a Bulls game? It's a decision that still needs to be made. You forget it. The J's gonna last longer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Right.
they pick that decision, and then you end up with no audience, or you wait till you see the highlights. I'm not gonna go to the game. I'll just wait till I see the highlights. Like, how do you change that and entice people to come sit in the seats? And then they say, man, that's the highlight. I've seen that myself in person. Like, they need innovativeness at the table now. Like, it's over with for the previous eras because they're not thinking like the millennials anymore. And not to take a shot at anybody, but it shows that with the WNBA. It's like, if you look at the thought process behind of how I don't care to respect the thought process of how millennials spend their money with me, I also don't care about women's rights because it's all the same era. Is it not?
Right.
Okay.
Right. And then just to
That's
add to that, man, I mean, Black women right now is really moving the needle, and a lot of venture capitalists are putting big money behind Black women and their innovation and all of that stuff. So kudos to the sisters, man. Kudos to the sisters, man. Y'all continue success, man.
Yeah,
that's right.
Women are making their mark. I seen I forgot what her name was, but she was the highest paid coach right now, female coach.
Oh,
in
Don
history.
Staley.
Yeah,
Don
it's
Staley.
like to see stuff like that. That's dope. Like you got Candace Parker, like saying like, okay, I'm getting a championship when I get there. You know what I'm saying? And she does accomplish it with her team. So I feel like a lot of that is just time. You know what I'm saying? Like now I'm not saying, because again, I'm still old school and I probably will definitely get scolded for this. Okay. I'm not saying that it's a time where women are more inferior than men. I'm just saying now is the time for us to say, all right, babe, scoot up. I'm gonna stay next to you. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
but I'm not
right.
behind you no more. I'm just
Right.
on the right side of you, keeping a lookout, in the front, in the back of you. Like, I feel like that's where they have to look at things now, where they like, okay, women ain't no longer way back there. You got women now that got multiple degrees, like they have a
Women
chip on
killing
their
it, man.
shoulder. Like, and it's not nothing new though. Like
Right.
even back in the day, like in our culture, women had their apartment first. Women had the cars
Right.
first. Women
Sure
had the bank
did.
accounts first. Men were
Women
coming to
always
live with the women.
mature. Women mature
Exactly.
faster than men, and then you got to figure the first millionaire amongst blacks was Madam C.J. Walker, and that was back in the doggone 1800s or something like that.
Yeah. Now you got to
So,
ask
yeah.
yourself too, though. And I'm happy you brought that up because I swear, I promise you, I just said this last night, right? If Madam C.J. Walker had her hair, product, right? who was she selling it to? More African American females, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if women and African Americans were so far behind, how were they the first to buy her product?
Mm.
I'm sorry, but I don't see slaves running up like, oh yeah, give me some hair grease when they looking for, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? When
Right.
they looking for other things to be beneficial in life. So as I look at this, it's like, you might not be as behind as you thought you were.
Mhm.
Maybe
These
it's all
stories
about,
the story's not consistent with what they telling us.
Yeah.
Somebody then lied.
and it's
Go ahead,
it's
go
one
ahead.
or the other. Like it's only one or the other. So you have to look at that. You say, okay, if Madam C.J. Walker was selling that much hair supply back in the 1920s, 30s, 40s,
Right.
who was buying
Right.
it? Now you say you throwing in Booker T. Washington, right? He was one of the people
Right.
that didn't want her to speak because of what? You're a woman. You're not getting on the stage to talk about no woman things. This is a man's world, whatever. Okay. She still found her way up there to talk about it. But let's say, what's the difference right now? In this, like, who's on stage right now with a voice for the WNBA? Who's like, no, forget that.
Right.
I'm gonna stand up for the WNBA. This is how I feel. This ain't gonna keep happening. Who's doing that?
Nobody. Is anybody
I mean,
the vocal leader for the WNBA?
they want LeBron to be the leader so bad for
For the
NBA.
NBA?
They want him to say, like,
Bron don't
think-
want that job.
I think Kobe.
Let
I
me-
think Kobe Bryant was stepping up to the plate because his daughter played, basketball, and he wanted to, put this imprint on the WNBA
Yeah,
to get more
RIP.
awareness to it.
But that's out.
Right.
I'm not trying to be funny, but it's like, just to be honest, like, that's out. So
Right.
now you say, okay. And I'm trying to say this is
Be real with it.
I'm trying to,
don't
but
bring
I
no
still-
cake on
I
here. We
still
don't
have
want no
goals.
cake.
I still have goals in life, okay? And we all know how sometimes
Stuff
this
can
can
be
go,
misconstrued.
Yes.
Right.
So as I really look for that, I say this. Me as I would say a strong Black woman, okay, as a leader of an empire of my own family and my culture and my religion within my entity and home, right, and around me. I'm not looking at no damn LeBron for no advice, so they can stop trying to make him a savior. Like, that's not gonna happen. I respect LeBron like no other. Like, he's done things that most will never do, right? But when it comes to certain advice, I think that I'm gonna let him take the backseat. When we talking about guys like Kyrie Irving, right? Isn't that what our fathers of our culture taught us this whole time? Get a man that got a backbone. Get a man that's gonna speak up, that's gonna talk about what he don't want, what he don't like. And we are now scolding men for saying, like, I'm not gonna be, like, whatever you want me to be and do whatever I want to do. Like, I'm not doing that. So as I look at this now, it's really funny because everybody wants everybody to shut up and say nothing, but everybody wants everything done. That's what I would say. So you got to do that with the WNBA too. If we all gonna shut up, then ain't nothing gonna get done.
Right. But you know what? To both of you, we can talk all day. We could be on this podcast for 2-3 hours. I already know. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna do this again. We're gonna
Part
have
two?
we're gonna have this again.
Tomorrow?
RJ,
He said tomorrow.
we could do
I'm
something
cool with
like
that.
this, because I think, RJ, you are talking about some topics, and you are a female that you can touch on things that, I'm not saying we can't, but I think you get a better understanding and a better feel of how to go about it, and I think you'd be perfect, for us to start talking about having these more conversations about, women and men, how they interact and how they become successful together, not just, the man is supposed to be the breadwinner and the women's supposed to be just sit back and just watch and cook.
Right.
No, that's not the case.
No.
So
No.
I think we should talk more about that. Yeah, I think we should
Yeah.
talk more about things like that.
Last question, and I know you're trying to wrap this up.
Okay.
This might be, I don't know if they would consider this insensitive or not, but And I'm saying this as I'm a woman, okay? And I'm not taking any direct shots at the WNBA at all whatsoever, but
Okay.
it does really shock me that they didn't announce this championship more than they should have, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I know that some of the owners of the Chicago Sky, so I know to some degree that that's not them, you know, to a degree, small degree. But brace yourself, okay? Why is the WNBA not sponsored by like Kotex?
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Or always. Like, regardless of what we are, you know, we're still checking the box for female. So was that too feminine? Is that too feminine? It's like, oh wow, I'm so hurt because you have a tampon sponsoring, but you use tampons. Like, and I'm saying this because y'all are men, but like,
you're right.
And so y'all won't be able to relate to a most degree. But it's just, to me, it's like you got people that can run your organization forward, but you so choose to keep it at this level, and that's what's mind-boggling to me.
Oh, you think the owners are not taking the money, not willing to take those endorsements, sponsorships?
I don't feel like they even at a point where they even think to go toward that way. They're thinking male sports. This is a branch off of male sports. Like the WNBA, the NBA ain't using Kotex. So I have no reason to even think about a Kotex. I'm a man. I can't know what degree Kotex would even do for me. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I don't use them.
Right.
But when you look at all that a woman needs, okay, regardless of who you are, you can't just stop that. Like it's a nature process, right? You have to have some alliances for what females are.
That's facts right there. No, that's facts.
And y'all the number one consumers, boy. That WNBA, boy, we should be loaded with
all
money.
I'm saying.
Boy.
Like, I just did research because I just had a conversation with some really big industry leaders. And I'm just like, okay, y'all send me y'all shoes, you know, which they sent me merch, which I'll be doing unboxings and stuff like that for. But when I really look at it, it's like, you got like, what, 5 women that had their own shoe? That's
wow.
That's not a fluke. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not by, like, now you got to start looking at like some stuff ain't by accident no more. Like, because you're missing everything that a woman is, and even for some that might not want to say, okay, this is my life status or my life preference, you know, to be in a feminine role, right? Then let's still talk about the family part. Like, they still got families. There's so many ways to market this that if you're not, you have to really be concerned at why not. Like, it's too many avenues at this point. Like, that really did do something to me to see that the championship wasn't posted in enough time frame, and even now it's not even circulating. Like, you've seen it on like these secondary and back channel links, like third channel from ESPN.
Right.
Like, oh, congratulations.
Yeah, because it wasn't really all on ESPN this morning, right? They didn't really cover it that much. I've been watching it all day. I haven't seen a whole lot.
No.
Yeah, I think that's you're right, man. You should be the commissioner for the WNBA.
If they gave me that opportunity, I would take that.
Yeah.
If they gave me that opportunity, I would take it. And I'm not just here with it. I'm overseas with it.
Yeah.
Like, the same way that you are an Olympic team and you playing in, you know, China and Japan for the men, right? You got Giannis for Greece for the Olympics, right? You got all these guys that are going over here. It's like, but we can talk all day, but we have more Americans, and we can't identify anywhere besides America. So if that's the case, then take this American USA team over there and compete. Do that make sense? Like,
right.
I just think the WNBA needs new innovators, you know, new people. Because if you're thinking the same way as an NBA, you know, franchise or organization, you know, you got to change it up. You got to say, you know what, that was their lane. Now let's find our lane and let's run with it, you know. And I think that's the problem. I think they're trying to compete, you know, and I don't know how much backing the NBA is giving them or not, but when you got that NBA team coming on and you got those shoes, like you said, somebody wearing and getting paid $100 million to wear the shoes, guess what? That kid gonna go out and buy those shoes. You know, if you have
Exactly.
a woman's shoe and she's out there and on commercials and doing her thing, and you're gonna go buy her shoe. But if you're not doing that on that side as much, then it's gonna hurt your product.
I've never heard a max contract for a female WNBA player ever.
You know,
Nope.
Like, why is there no max contract for a female athlete? Like, women are going, like, these ladies are going just as hard as the males. Like, I've seen workouts from these ladies. Like, they going in. Like, you can put some of these ladies against some of the top guys in the league, and yeah, okay, he might be stronger, but she's still going to mentally for IQ and for heart, you know, for defense, whether she got other auxiliaries that are, you know, feminine or not, she's still gonna take a charge. She's still talking crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like they just missing the fact that everything that is taken for every male in the NBA to walk into the gym and put in work, these women are doing the same thing.
Yes.
Now, again, regardless of what they identify as, because you have a lot of women that are same sex, right, that are in the WNBA. So regardless of what they identify, you still putting in work. Do you see what I'm saying? And if they gonna put the work in, they need the same outcome as the NBA. I need to see a max contract for a woman by 2023. No lie. Like, at this point,
what would be a
wonder.
max to you? Because they're not making that much. So what would be the max?
You know what's funny is
I don't even think it's one of them making 10 million a year.
No, it's not.
No, hell no, Bob.
No,
I
think the highest paid is
well, the most of the females,
Diggins.
Most of the females that plays in the WNBA, they used to. I don't know if they do it now. They used to just play in the WNBA to stay in shape and make their money overseas.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
so,
Crazy,
so it might be I think they're trying to change that format, because remember when Morgan Tuck was on our show, she was talking about, you know, it's a change coming. Some of the girls are now making six figures. She didn't say seven figures. She said six figures,
right.
You know, because I think at first they were only making, you know, 5 figures, man. You know, they wasn't even making 6 figures.
Right. And you have to ask yourself, like, you got ladies. Again, I'm going to continue to use people like Tia Cooper, right? Like Skylar Diggins, like Candace Parker, Cappy when she was, you know, doing her thing. Like, when you looking at these type of women, you know that they time ain't free. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you know they in the gym all day, every day. They have not lacked anywhere because it's showing in their performance. Candace has been here for what, 1 year? And her first year here, she done got a championship. You don't get that just from, you know, picking up a ball and just like, okay, y'all, we gonna try to win this thing. Like, she in the lab. If you follow her on social media, she's in the lab all day. Everything she do breeds, you know, dominance and winning, right? And for them to say there's no max contract for women at all, like, how with that type of work she put in? Now you got to say to yourself this. Now you got to say this. If it was no Skylar Diggins, if it was no Candace Parker, if it was no Tia Cooper, if it was no Cappy, if it was no Lisa Leslie, no Olympia, you know, like, if it was none of these women, what would the NBA be? And I'm not saying just them, because there's plenty of other people that I could use, you know what I'm saying? But if they all just was like, man, I'm gone.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Now you talk about, oh, our ratings are down because we don't have the best athletes to be on the floor that people want to see. People want to see them now, and y'all ain't letting them see them. Like,
right.
I think I definitely think something can be done though, RJ. And I think the NBA players can help that, you know, if they stand with the women, you know, meaning I think Chris Paul is trying to do some things in Phoenix with the WNBA girls team. But I think if all of these, you know, quote unquote superstars put their heads together and say, you know what, the women need the same thing, man. They need the same thing that we have over here, and let's fight for them, you know, and let's come together.
I feel like your LeBron James, your Chris Paul, your Carmelo Anthony's, your Kyrie Irvings, regardless of the name and legacy that these gentlemen have built, you still answering to somebody.
Yeah.
So if they tell you, yo, you're just doing way too much with this promotion right now. Like, not saying that this is even the case. I'm not saying that that's the case. I don't know. I'm not there. I don't see that. You know what I'm saying? But if they like, whoa, calm down. Like, know your role, stay in your role. Like, I didn't ask you to do that. Like, we didn't ask you to do that. Or we just don't have the money to afford that. Just say that, but
Right.
a lot of these guys, they want so much better for the WNBA, but like they get halfway through that marker and somehow they disintegrate. So now you got to say, who told you no? Because you still got to ask somebody. Like, that's just like for me and my team. You're not going to just push you're not going to do anything within my organization and you don't ask me. Because now we.
Mm-hmm. Somebody blowing up your phone. Can you hear it, Bob?
No, I can't hear.
Yeah, somebody was blowing her phone up. But yeah, man, that was good. That was a good one, man. She's coming back.
I enjoyed her, man.
She's coming back.
I really enjoyed it.
There we go. Sorry about that, y'all. But that's just kind of where I am. Like I said, we could talk all day, but I just feel like it just has to be more. Like, and I'm not. If one more person asks me how I feel about LeBron James doing something or saying something, like, I promise you, when I pray, I'm not praying to LeBron James. Like, so if they don't stop making this man the face behind the culture to make a decision, like, we don't care if LeBron is doing something. If we don't want to do it, we ain't gonna do it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We don't care if Kyrie did it or didn't do it. We don't want to do it. Like, it's just stuff like that. Like, and if they're gonna keep doing that with the WNBA, it just makes people not want to support it. Mm-hmm. And they're gonna see a decline in the WNBA this year until it's almost a bill. Like, it's just gonna be a ran up tab for them that they gotta pay out of pocket, and nothing happens.
I hope not. I mean, I really do enjoy watching the WNBA.
Likewise,
I like watching sports in general. Especially basketball. Are you
They're
guys
so talented, man.
Are you guys? Do you guys? Your team? Do y'all live stream y'all games? Live stream them or no?
Yeah, we do. When we were in the UK, we live streamed every game when we were there. Like, for our season, we didn't, because we were having like a lot of back and forth between who we were partnered with for our streaming system. And you can use your traditional Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff, but I didn't want to. I wanted to do like more like that YouTube streaming, a broadcast streaming. Like, we were partnered with Daily Motion UK at one point, and it just wasn't going how I wanted to do it. So I just was like, you know what? Until the negotiation comes out in my favor, I'm not going to promote it. I mean, I know that sounds bad, but it was just like, why am I, again, another thing that needs to be exercised is, if somebody is just not doing something in your favor, drop the whole connection. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's a lot that's going on right now behind the scenes with a lot of this stuff too. Is like, oh, well, we can't do this and we can't stream that, and we don't want to do this and we don't want to stream that because you only got an allotment of this time. All right, well, then y'all gonna stream this over here. We're gonna get somebody else to stream this over here. Do you see what I'm saying? Why does ESPN have to be the streaming service for the WNBA? Why can't Fox News be the streaming service for the NBA? You know what I'm saying? The WNBA. Like, do y'all both have to stream on the same thing? Like, no.
Right.
I'm glad you asked.
That's real.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, let's try to do it another day, man. I'm really like excited about this. We can do this another day.
Hey, pick a day. Pick a day. We Monday through Friday, baby.
And talk. I just like the conversations that we have, because we don't script anything. We really don't. That's why we can talk all day, because it's like we just sitting down at the cigar bar or something and just having the conversation, and then we just take it there, So this is awesome for you to come.
And we haven't had a young lady on our show to go this deep either. I mean, to touch on so many different topics and to straddle the fence on the edge of those topics. On the borderline of going over.
Going over. Nah, I like
that though. It's the edge.
Fine line, okay. Like, I've learned my lesson of the fine line. So now, if I'm speaking on topics, I'd be like, whoa, think about it, because I have a lot of knowledge, and sometimes too much is too much. You know what I'm saying? So you have to learn again the fine line between telling somebody enough to help them fix the situation, but not too much where they feel bombarded, like, oh, you just attacked me. You know what I'm saying? So that's just kind of where I am with that. And I learned that
That's
too by
that.
being a leader, you know, for my
Did you
team.
learn that at Harvard or you learned that in the streets?
I'm gonna say more street smarts, and that's just because when you and y'all could, I don't know if y'all could contest to this or not. Like growing up, you can't brush the wrong people the wrong way. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like you can't just say
No.
anything that you want to anybody. Like
No.
people now are way more sensitive than they were back in the day. Like back in the day, you go, you know, like you had the aunties and the cousins, they'd come to you like, let me tell you about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Or the neighbors.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
now everybody's like, oh my God, like I'm just, you know, look at everything they did to poor little Dave Chappelle. Like luckily he got past that. He didn't get canceled. But you know, it's a sensitive thing right now with how we speak, but we ain't still saying nothing.
I didn't know that they canceled. I didn't know that they canceled the girl who did the Harry Potter books. I did not know that.
Oh yeah, I knew that because my kids were like a fan of them, and then they just stopped out of nowhere. Like
because she said gender is fact. That's all she said.
It is.
Gender is fact, and they canceled it.
Right? See, it's just this simple. You grab your birth certificate, you open your birth certificate, and there's a little marker up there that specifies gender. Now, if we were not so emotional or touchy, it would mean just that. Open up the document, look in that section. There's a check mark somewhere. That's it.
Dave Chappelle. Did you watch that special?
I did. And I was gut wrenched the whole time. Like everything he was saying, I was like, oh my God, like I can't believe
he said that
anybody would say that. Yeah. And like,
yeah. And that's the way he comes from.
It is. And having people, like I said, I've met people from all walks of life. Okay. Hearing their struggles, it's just like, man, I don't know what I would do. You know what I'm saying? Like, but one thing that I do know I would do is if it were me, own it and be proud of the skin I'm in. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm 6'1.5". Like I've walked in rooms where, like I talked to, you know, Mr. Liberty, I told you that, like I walked in rooms where the whole room talking, you know, music playing, till you hear the scratch record, everybody turn around and just stare. And this is like more than 400, 500 people. I'm 6'4" with heels. You know, like when I'm
6'4" with heels?
Yeah. When I walk into a room, it's like, you know, they're staring. So like it's nothing new to stand out, you know, and that's the perspective that I usually give is standing out ain't just, it's not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? It's just about how you own it. So to go more into Dave Chappelle and what he was saying, not too much, but if you just stand, you know, like my mom used to say, chin up, chest out, like a peacock, like just own it. Like you just be happy. That's all I can say. Just be happy. So
be happy. All right, that's it. Because I know we can talk for 3 or 4 hours. I already know.
Yeah,
you know,
and I'm already over in my meetings. I'm looking at all the text messages. Like, are you logging on? Did you log on? I'm like,
right. So RJ, we'll definitely have you back, and it was actually great talking to you too. And
thanks.
Wish you nothing but success too, as well with your team, with your ABA team, and. When I'm in town, I'll definitely come. I'll probably be in there sometime in November, December.
Okay.
Hopefully, you know, you guys have a couple of home games and I can just come by and check them out. You know,
definitely.
I wouldn't mind coming and speaking to the guys or you know what have you either. So I can do that if I'm in town.
I would love some. Like I think that'd be amazing, and I appreciate it. You have no idea. And again. Okay, I gotta have y'all literally look at the unboxing that I do, and then I'm letting this go.
Okay.
But I talked to a legend, y'all. Like I told you who it was, Mr. Liberty, but I ain't gonna tell nobody else. Yeah, they gotta go to my page, RJ White Official, to see who I'm unboxing for. And the amount of knowledge that, you know, a lot of these all-stars, you know what I'm saying? Like these Hall of Famers have, like, I'm blessed. Like, you know, me and you had a conversation, Mr. Liberty, and like I told you what I was trying to do and how I, you know, my goals of how I want to get there to get even the knowledge that you gave me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna be a phenomenal thing when I make it to where I'm going. So,
no doubt, and I know you're going to do it too.
thanks.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it.
Part two.
I got
two.
y'all.
RJ White in the building, baby.
Look, top 5 introductions, I swear. Thanks, y'all.
All right. You take care. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.
Yeah, that was awesome, Bob.
That was, man.
Awesome.
It was very insightful to
It
hear
was
a female's perspective, big dog. To hear it from a woman's point of view, because we men and we think our point of view trumps all. But then when you start hearing those concerns and the way she was touching on the WNBA and all of that stuff, bro, they need somebody like that in there.
Yeah,
to be able to help guide that ship, bro.
That's why I said some new innovative type stuff, man. Because if you just keep going the old school way, you're going to keep getting the same results, right? I think she has a mind. She thinks totally different of how she wants to see things run. And I think if they have someone like that in control of the WNBA, you know, we'll start seeing a lot of changes. You know, now are they ready for that? That's the question. That's the question. All right, get a shouts out, man. Shout outs. And then
we got Danny Spencer. Shout out to Danny Spencer. Coach Danny Spencer was in the building. Mark Bowman, man, thanks for tuning in, brother. And then I shared quite a few out, so they on different streams. We got a few other people too, but overall,
I think I see a Webster. I see a Reginald Webster. You know, tuned in. Miss Foster, she tuned in. Arthur Agee tuned in. So we have some people tuning in, and we really appreciate that too. And we're gonna eventually start going live on either our Instagram page or YouTube. So pretty soon, you guys gonna have to come switch over to that, you know, and join us over there because we're trying to do it the right way now. Since we learned a little bit more, we're trying to do it the right way where we can build up our audience and do it the right way. All right?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Make sure y'all swing over there to that website, man, and get that device, man. You know, Lib say I sound like the police. You must have just got pulled over this weekend.
No,
what was you doing this weekend? The police pulled you over, man?
No, man.
Don't put that in there.
I don't do anything for the police to pull me over, you know. And if he pulls me over, man, I can't. I'm not even out that much, dude. I'm in the house. I'm a homebody. Yeah, but
what's up, man? Marcus Liberty in the building. The NBA legend, the McDonald All-American. Your host Marcus Liberty in the building. What's up, Marcus?
Oh, man.
One day I'm gonna hold it for about 30 days, man. One day I'm gonna just hold it, man.
But also make sure you make sure you go get that Hilux too, man. Hilux. Make sure you go get that Hilux, man. HYLUX. It's on Amazon. Make sure you go get it. It's a nice sports drink.
Man. So we'll be back in the next couple of days, man. I know you have mentioned a couple of other people, so man, and get that word back to D Rose, man. Get that word back. Danny Spencer, I know you know D Rose and them brother, man. Reach out to him and tell him we need him, man. We want him, man. I know Danny Spencer got D Rose on speed dial. He got Reggie Rose's number. I heard it through the grapevine. Get up with him, big baby.
And he actually gave me a number to someone else too that we can probably reach out to too. So I ain't gonna say the name right now because we gotta wait till we can get him first, and then we'll get him on. It's another Chicago legend out of Robeson High School. So we'll get him on. All right, man. So what you want?
Man, I'm about to go get me something to eat. It's time to eat. The clock going off in my stomach, bro, and I got real estate. So, man, good show, Marcus Liberty, man, and I'll holler at you, big baby.
Peace. I holler.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank y'all for watching.
Chicago. Oh, Chi-Town.